Hello and welcome to another battle report. This one is 1850 points of Eldar versus Imperial Knights with Grey Knight allies. There's only one change from my list from a while ago. I decided to put holofields on the 4 serpents and to take the sun cannon and scatter laser and scatter shield off of the Wraith Knight, and that makes the naked autarch my warlord now. This is a shot of the terrain on the battlefield. It will be Hammer and Anvil. It's the assassination mission from Renegade Open coming up in November. Alright, here we are after deployment. Night fighting is in effect. The Eldar will have the first turn. My opponent deployed only his Dread Knight into the ruins there. I put my Wraith Knight up as close to the edge as I could and pushed my Wave Serpents way back in case I got seized on or something weird happened. And here we are after turn 1. The Wraith Knight moved up full 12 inches. The Serpent came along with him. I had moved through cover and stealth ruins so I could do anything I wanted with my Wave Serpents. My Wraith Knight fired through a window and actually took a wound off of the Dread Knight but didn't six him out. I had the secondaries to destroy at least one enemy monstrous creature and to have at least 3 of my own units in my deployment zone, and I scored 1 point. Alright, so the one of the least eventful turn 1s in the history of 40k, he declined to try to bring on his strike force, so there's 10 Terminators and a Librarian still sitting off the board. His Warlord and the 2 Knights that make up the Adamantium Lance formation will actually be outflanking due to his Warlord trait. It's very interesting and definitely made me think pretty hard about where to put my Serpents. Right, here we are at the end of the top of turn 2. Everything but a unit of Spiders came in for me, and you can see that the Dread Knight is not there anymore. The Hornets took it out very easily. I had secondary objectives 1 and 5, and I actually scored 2 points, so I'm ahead at the secondary 3-0 right now. Alright, here we are at the end of game turn 2. Really interesting turn. Having the Knights able to outflank is definitely disrupting. They managed to stun one Hornet and destroy the other one, and they managed to destroy one Warwalker. The other one is fine. Otherwise, it forced me to decide whether to jink or whether to trust my Serpent Shields, which were still up, and I have to admit that I am a coward. One Serpent I jinked with because I knew already I was going to reposition it, but the other 2 I should have just sort of held fast and saw what happened. Alright, here we are at the end of the top of 3. That's the Serpent that I repositioned. Over there, I brought that Serpent to the other side of the hill, and I disembarked the Dire Avengers way over there in the corner, and the Wraith Knight jumped up onto that little pillbox there. It was the worst turn of shooting that I've ever had. I killed 1 Terminator out of all of my shooting, so I'm definitely going to suffer as a result of that. I did, however, score both of my objectives. I had 1 and 3. And so at the end of the top of turn 3, I was leading 5-1. Alright, here we are at the end of game turn 3. One of the Wraith Knights moved up over there. He took care of the rest of the Hornets. Didn't do too much else otherwise. Here, a hilarious thing happened. The Knight shot the battle cannon at the Wave Serpent to try to suppress it, to get it to jink, because the shield was down, and then fired the stubber at the Wraith Knight and charged in. Overwatch was a 6, Pen was a 6, he failed his save for the shield. I rolled a 6 on the chart and got an explodes result, and then rolled a 6 again to take off, or a 5 to take off 3 hull points plus the original. So I actually knocked off 4 hull points immediately there, and then in the assault phase I managed to do 1 more hull point, and he only did 4 wounds to me and did not actually 6 me out, which I thought was hilarious. Alright, here we are at the end of the top of 4. I had objectives 4 and 5, both of which were exceedingly difficult since all I have to shoot at now are super heavy walkers or Terminators. I moved the Wave Serpent up to the top of that building, which is stuffed chock full of units, and between the 3 Serpents firing at his Warlord, I managed to knock off a hull point or 2 with some lucky rolling. In the close combat, hilarity ensued. I swung first, penned, and destroyed the Imperial Knight. The template flipped on me, and then he rolled a 6 to D me out. So I lost my Wraith Knight despite winning the combat, which is probably the way it should have turned out statistically in the first place. Otherwise, there's nothing else going on with any of that at all. Alright, here we are at the end of game turn 4. My opponent got 5 and 6 as objectives. He's been steadily putting on points, and the secondary is now 5 to 3. He managed to break the Warp Spiders, which were running, and to destroy one of the units of walkers. And he pushed these guys over to take shots at the Wave Serpent in these ruins, but didn't manage to do anything, and I wasn't particularly afraid of it in the first place. Alright, here we are at the end of the top of 5. I rolled 4 and 5 for my tactical objectives again, and of course was unable to accomplish either one. I came within 1 hull point. His Warlord is down to 1 hull point there. But I also made the second, what I consider to be the second mistake of the game, and that is I pushed the Warwalker up to the top floor and dropped the Wave Serpent down. Had I been thinking, I would have calculated the possibility that he was actually trying to assassinate my Warwalkers, since they're a soft target, and I would have left it hidden in the building, but I did not. Alright, here we are at the end of game turn 5 and the end of the game. It ended on a natural die roll. Sure enough, my Warwalkers turned out to be his assassination target, and with the last shots of the game, he managed to wreck the walker that I had carelessly placed on the top of the building. He also had tactical objectives 2 and 4, and he managed to score both of those to bring the secondary up into a tie. I think that if I had not been a coward and jinked on turn 2, I would have had a few more shots to put into his Warlord, and that 1 hull point might have come off there. And then obviously, if I had been more thoughtful, I would have kept the walker hidden and made him, just made it more difficult for him to take the primary. As it was, he took the primary, the secondary was tied, and the tertiary was tied because we both had Line Breaker and we both had Solo Blood on different turns.